The filter method is kind of similar to the map method, where we are going to have a new array as a result. However, for the map method, the result array will always be the same size of the original array, just with the data modified. For the filter, the array would have a different size because I'm going to be reducing that array. And instead of returning a modified item, I'm going to return the item itself. So whenever I use the map, the filter method, I am expected to return true or false, just so JavaScript knows if they need to include that element to the new array or not. Let's make an example. Let's say I have this array of fruits with 3 elements, and then I want to make a filter over that. So result receive fruits.filter. I'm going to create a callback function. Then I'm just return false for everything. And then let's log the result and see what we get. So if I save here, you can see that the result is an empty array. Again, if I were using map, I would get the same size, but I would include inside each one of the items whatever I am returning, in this case, false. But for the filter method, I'm just going to return true or false, just so it knows if that element is going to be included or not inside my new array. In this case, since I am returning false to everything, I'm not including anything. If I were to return true for everything, then the new array will have all the elements that I have originally. But obviously, I'm going to need something more than returning true or false. So usually, I'm going to use the element itself and make some kind of validation. So let's say, for instance, fruit different than banana. In this case, I'm going to get true or false from this conditional, and that is going to set if I'm going to include that element inside my array or not. So if I save that, you can see that my new array has 2 elements. In this case, whatever is not banana. Or I could create something to make an equal comparison. In this case, I would return just banana. But again, be careful because it is case sensitive, so if I include a lowercase b, the result is going to be empty. But now I have a more complex feature here because I have this callback function where I am validating the element and create this conditional. So I could create something like fruit dot to lowercase equal banana. In this case, I am going to have the result because whatever I include here, if that's capital case here, if I have another capital case, it doesn't matter. I will always convert everything to lowercase before making the comparison. And once more, since the only thing that I have here is this return statement, I don't need the curly braces, I don't need the return statement, I don't need the semicolon, I don't need to break this into multiple lines. So I could create a filter as simple as this one, where I can get the element from here. And with that, I can compare if the element exists or not. This scenario, it's very similar to the includes method, where I'm looking for an element, but I can create in something more complex, where I can create this to lowercase, or even if I am using an array of objects. So let's make a more complex example. Let me delete what I have here, and let me create another array, but instead of using primitive data like string or numbers, I'm going to create using objects. So let's create something like this, a variable student, where it's going to be an array of objects, and each object, let me create ID name, John, age 25, another object, ID 2, name Mary, age 17, and another object, ID 3, name Danny, age 15. Now let me just log this variable, this array, and let's create a filter over that. So result receive students.filter, where I receive each one of the students, and now I just want to check for the age. And let's just log the result. So if I save this, you can see that I have my original array, where I have a list of students, and my result array, where I have everyone that has age lower than 18. In this case, Danny and Mary. But as you can see, it is more complex because my array is not just string, it is an array of objects. And inside here, I am doing the same thing. Inside my array, I am using the method filter, where I receive the element itself, in this case, the student itself. But I can make a more complex validation, where I use the property age from the student, and I get what is that student. I could do something different. Instead of using an array and filter for age, I could use that for looking for a specific student. So let's say I want to find the student whose ID is equal to 2. If I save, you can see that I have an array of 3 students, but my result is just one, just Mary. And over that, I could even create some kind of validation. So if result.length is greater than 0, that means that student was found. Otherwise, that means that student was not found. And if I save, you can see student found, and as a result, I have here Mary. Let's say I'm looking for a student whose ID is 7. If I save, you can see my result array is empty, therefore result student not found. So I can use filter for looking for something inside my array and just find whatever I need inside that and use that to filter to work with the elements that I have inside my application.